Good morning, all. It's Eliana here in Los Angeles on a beautiful Monday morning. It is the second to last day to Passover, and I would like to share with you a way that you can solve problems in 3 minutes or less with feminine power. We're now in about the fourth week of lockdown, and by now you may be going stir crazy. And if you're working, feeling the pressures of being inside all the time, if you are not working, maybe going between wanting to stay under the covers all day long or else pushing yourself till you drop. And all kinds of stuff come up with that. You may be living in close quarters with people that we're not used to being 24/7 with, and conflicts coming up, and how are you dealing with that? You may be feeling the effects of that, whether you implode by swallowing what you really want to be saying or else exploding to dissipate some of the stress. In either of these situations, problems are coming up. We are all dealing with the unknown. And one way that we're not used to dealing with problems and that can really help you to unload them and unpack them in a real fast way is by employing feminine power. What do I mean by feminine power? Well, what don't I mean is it's not lovey-dovey, woo-woo, flu, foo, 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 foo. I don't mean that. What I mean by feminine power is that there is a well of wisdom that lies beyond your cognitive mind. Feminine power is not man or woman. Both man and woman have feminine power. And you can access this at any moment in time, and it actually doesn't even take you 3 minutes. It doesn't take any time. What it requires is stopping and choosing to connect with it within. It requires stopping and listening inside. So, an example is this morning. I'll give you an example from my own workday. I woke up, I meditate in the morning, and then I came and I had an early morning meeting, and I got off the phone or on the Zoom call and go, all right, first things first, what am I going to do next? If you don't take time to connect with yourself, well, then it's usually the never-ending to-do list, or if you don't have anything going on, it's the never-ending monkey mind that starts operating inside of your head. What I did was, this is Miriam's secret, revealing the ancient wisdom of feminine leadership. And in our Lead with Your Feminine Power course, we use this book. This is The Wisdom of Miriam, and it's the repository of 30 years of my doing this work, the resurgence of an ancient way that we used to operate according to feminine worldview. And in the Lead with Your Feminine Power course, one of the exercises is that we use the book as kind of an oracle and just opening up to a random page and then allowing that to provide wisdom. So my question was, all right, so what's next? How do I approach this day? Tomorrow is the last day of Passover, and I'm leading a self-care Seder, and I've got a whole list of things to do, plus other things to do. with the business. And I want to come from my feminine power and self-care. I gotta walk my talk. So what do I do? All right, so this is what I opened up to, page 86. And this is from the chapter, The Dual Nature of Feminine Power. And this is speaking of Anat in ancient times. And we're talking about pre-biblical times. Anat was known as the storm god. And here's where my eyes went to. It's not the beginning of the page or the beginning of the chapter, it just went to where the eye goes to, and trusting that. My definition of success was what I achieved and what I had accomplished today and tomorrow, as if that was possible. This motivated me to do a lot, yet there'd always be one more thing to do, and one more thing, and one more, causing me to have a feeling of never enough. All the seemingly great stuff being done ignored my need to just be. It cut me off from who I am. It was also a clever way to avoid that dark underbelly of my untidy vulnerability that threatened to blow my super duper and super doer cover. By not creating space for the untidy truth, I was denying my softness, my allowing, my ability to receive. In essence, I was doing a lot, but not really achieving much. Our sense of openness and vulnerability allows us to connect and to collaborate with others. Yet we can't do that without owning our shadow side. We need to be in touch with both sides of our nature. This is what provides us with a sense of balance. The ancient wisdom of feminine leadership is that it cherishes both sides, dark and light, and holds them both as sacred. This wisdom is important for us to embrace today, as the conventional ways of being no longer are serving us well in our complex culture. And I'd add, in our isolated culture of today. To step into a new paradigm of feminine leadership, one that prioritizes ease, abundance, and grace, we must learn to accept the shadow side of ourselves that inadvertently shows up in ways that don't serve our highest good. Yet by acknowledging and accepting the untidy shadow side, it can actually become one of our greatest gifts. The way of wisdom is a balance between deep inner listening and trusting your inner voice. From there, you can reach out and share what it is that the voice is guiding you to contribute. While it can feel scary to express your tender, vulnerable side, it's also courageous. When feeling the fear and going ahead anyway, you transform your negatives into positives and develop true self-esteem and authentic power. So my invitation to you today is to dare to accept that part when you're feeling the vulnerability, when you're feeling the storm. Instead of cutting it off, instead of pushing yourself to do and exhaust yourself, or on the opposite, by avoiding showing up, by avoiding following through if you know that that's the important thing to do, but you're terrified. That vulnerability of the fear, or the vulnerability of the untidy feelings, is not your weakness, it's your strength. I have posted a 2-minute mini self-care music meditation to help you exactly to connect to that tender side of yourself with security, nourishing and nurturing self-care, because you really, really deserve it. We all do. And we're all moving to a place where none of us knows. It is untidy. Stop pretending that it isn't. Because when you want to hold on to the ship, you're in the sinking Titanic and you'll go down with the ship. If you're willing to jump into the dark, murky waters, yeah, it's not comfortable, but that's going with the flow and it will lead you to good. And that's where we are today. I invite you to join me in the self-care Seder tomorrow, where I'll be sharing with you in this mini class a use of music that bypasses your intellect and allows you to connect to your clarity and your courage and your confidence exactly in the midst of not knowing. As it bypasses your intellect and connects you with your higher mind, balancing both hemispheres of the brain. It's medically proven to reduce anxiety and stress and increase your focus. There is no cost. It's a donation-based event, and it's quite specifically on the last day of Passover. It's not religious. We're going to be honoring the prophetess Miriam, whose feminine leadership allowed for us to come into I'm calling modern age the last 3,000 years. And we're now at another turn of history, unprecedented time in human history. And that feminine leadership and feminine power is coming back up, and we will be exploring together. Each person who comes will receive a free copy of this book, and we will be using it in a way that you will get an answer to your most pressing problem. So I'm going to sign off now and wish you a great, great day. Please do something kind for yourself today because you really deserve it. Bye-bye.